Salam and welcome. Thank you for joining me in another episode of the Quran in English Basics for Beginners. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. We are busy with Surah Yasin, chapter 36, verses 48 to 68, page 401 of volume number 7 of Ma'riful Quran by Maulana Mufti Muhammad Shafi Rahmatullahi Alayhi and Maulana Mufti Muhammad Taqi Uthmani Rahmatullahi Alayhi. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward them abundantly. Right, so we've read the Arabic and the English translation in the previous episode, and now let's continue with the commentary. Right, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Ma yanduruna illa sayhatan wahidatan. They are looking for nothing but for a single cry that will seize them. And that's in verse number 49. The question of the disbelievers or the unbelievers or the rejectors of faith and the atheists go here is the one they used to ask the Muslims by way of mockery. And the real purpose was basically to deny the day of judgment simply because they don't want accountability, right? Some people, when they get very high and very senior, either very wealthy, or if they get a certain title, or they become a politician and so on, they feel they are not answerable to anybody, so they deny the day of judgment. It was not asked for finding out the truth, nor as a serious effort to reach the reality. It was simply a way of taunting the Muslims and making fun of the believers. And even if it were for finding out the true nature of the event, then the mercy of the Lord of the universe, the Creator, Supreme God, Most Merciful, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, requires that the full and precise knowledge of the year and day of the coming of Qiyamah should not be given to anyone, so much so that it has not given even to anyone from among his noble prophets and messengers. Even if this question asked by these people was no more than a fact-finding exercise on their part, it was patently absurd. Therefore, rather than tell them in response the time when Qiyamah will come, they were simply being admonished that don't ask for the time and so on. The point is, what have you prepared for it, right? So they were told that reasonable people, once they become aware of something that is bound to come in all certainty, should start making necessary preparations ahead of it. Like we know that everybody knows you're going to die, right? So if you're a wealthy person, so then in preparation for your death, start making out a will. Right? Speak to your lawyers, make out a will, so you get necessary preparations for it. And not go about wasting precious time in trying to find out its precise hour and day. Common sense required that once they had heard the foreboding of Qiyamah, they should have believed and did what it takes to achieve success in that life to come, which is a guarantee. But so entangled they are in their heedlessness that they virtually seem to be waiting for nothing short of the time when the day of judgment, the Qiyamah, comes before them. And then they would think about it. Therefore, like some people have the attitude, we'll see when the time comes. When the time comes, we'll see. But then it's too late. Therefore, it was said that these people were waiting for a Qiyamah, while Qiyamah, the day of judgment, will have a scenario of its own. For it would be just one terrible sound of the horn, the sur, that will seize everyone all of a sudden, in a way that people will be busy in their business, settling their disputes, and they all, in this very condition, will lie dead. It appears in a hadith that two people will be engaged in their activity of buying and selling cloth. For example, they are traders or business people. In modern terminology, they're sitting in a boardroom and doing a hell of a big, nice business deal, and all of a sudden, before they can even sign it, the day of judgment is on them, right? So stretched before them will be the yardage of the cloth pieces, while of a sudden Qiyamah will come. And they would be unable to complete their deal of cloth or the meeting in the boardroom, right? They won't even be able to sign the partnership agreement. Then there will be someone else busy plastering his water tank, who will fall dead in the same state. And that's reported by Abu Nu'aym radiallahu anhu from Sayyidina Abu Nu'aym, I don't know if it's Rahmatullah alayh, from Sayyidina Abu Huraira radiallahu anhu, and that's in Al-Qurtubi. In verse number 50, it was said, فَلَا يَسْتَطِعُونَ تُوصِيَةً وَلَا إِلَىٰ أَهْلِهِمْ يَرْجِعُونَ. So they will not be able to make a bequest, nor will they return to their household. That is, people who are gathered there will not have the respite to make a will among themselves to do something on their behalf, and those who are still outside their houses will not find the respite or time even to go into their houses. They will be dead in that very spot where they are. If you're in a garden, you'll drop dead there. If you're fixing up the leak on your roof, you'll drop dead there. If you're driving your car, you'll drop dead there. If you're having a meeting in the boardroom, you'll drop dead there, right? So they will be dead in the very state in which they would be at that time. This is a description of the first blowing of the horn or the sur of the day of judgment, as a result of which the entire gamut of the earth and the heavens will be destroyed and a new creation will come into reality. After that it was said, وَنُفِخَ فِي الثُّورِ فَإِذَا هُمْ مِنَ الْأَجْدَاثِ إِلَىٰ رَبِّهِمْ يَنْسِلُونَ. And the horn will be blown, and suddenly they will be rushing from their grave towards their Lord. Here the word ajdath is a plural form of jadath, which means a grave. And yansilun is a derivation from nasalan, which means to walk swiftly, as it appears in another verse. They will come out of their graves in haste. They will be rushing out. We see in chapter 71, verse 43. As for what is said in another verse, in chapter 39, verse 68, and suddenly they will stand up looking around. For first came the instant of standing up in wonder, and then came the act of racing towards the plains of resurrection, the plains of gathering known as the Hashar. It has already been proved from the verses of the Quran that the angels will call them to come to the plains of resurrection. It becomes clear that the presence of disbelievers on the plain of the resurrection will not be out of their pleasure, rather it will be out of compulsion, whereby the call of the angels will prompt them to come hastening towards it. We'll stop at that point. Join me in the next episode.